again, and I'm happy to announce that I've got another longer making of artwork video ready for you. I began the second Rainbow Pride series, and oh gosh, a couple of weeks ago, I guess, decided to go with yellow because one of my followers down in Australia really made some very positive comments about the yellow, so I thought as a reward to her, I'll go ahead and kick it off with yellow. This one is named Daffodilus because as I went along, it started to look more and more like a clump of daffodils to me, so I just made up a silly kind of a version of the name of the daffodil flower and let it go with that. It's a little on the long side. It's probably going to run better than 15 minutes, but I sped up a lot of it. I have to tell you that this painting was kind of a project. It was, I would say 6 or more layers of different applications of paint, either with palette knife or with blending brush, some masking, then laying in some bordering, and at the end of it all, it turned out pretty pleasing to me, and I've gotten some nice supporting comments about it too on the Instagram postings. So I appreciate you tuning in. I hope you have the time to stay for the whole thing. If not, maybe you can fast forward through some pieces of it. It goes pretty much chronologically from the laying down of the base coat on the 20 by 20 inch canvas to the final point where I say, okay, you're ready to sign and I'm going to name you now. And then at the end of this video, I have a couple of room mock-ups and things for those of you who might want to have a sort of a test in your mind about how it in the original form or in one of the print formats that are optioned to you, how it might fit in your space. Yellow is sometimes a difficult color to match in for some people. Other people, and my son included, simply love it. So here you go. I hope you enjoy the video, and I will return at the end to thank you all for watching. Bye. Let me just bring it back up to real-time speed here for a little amusing lesson that I learned. Moral of the story is that, hey, paint dries, and sometimes it dries in a nozzle of a pump applicator. And so what you're seeing here is I'm going to try to add some white into the periphery of this thing so I can blend it out some more. The problem is that this nozzle was quite stopped up, and this is how you get paint all over your clothes. And let me also just point out before I speed this back up again, this is one of these areas where the painting sort of leads you and you don't lead it, because once I got all these splatters on it, what do you do other than to continue the style? And what you'll see as we get into more palette knife and things is that I do splatter paint on this painting, and the effects came out pretty good in a lot of areas. I like it anyway. So yeah, this was one where my mistake, actually, you leverage it, you make lemonade out of lemons. Now, this is the day after and the painting is dried at this point, but I wanted to embellish on top of the dried paint so that it wouldn't mix and blend, because I wanted to get some contrast colors, both bright and not so bright. One of the challenges that I found I had here was, again, how dominant green can be in playing with yellow. It really is quite a powerful color, almost like blue. Maybe that's the key to it. I'm still trying to work that out. But once it was dried and I could go back to the palette knife and add some highlights here, it began to get very close to what the final center of this piece turned out to be. I'll go ahead and speed it up again to go through this. At this point in this painting, I'm pretty happy with what I've got going on in the center of it, especially the palette knife aspects of it. And I wanted to add a feature to this similar to what I put in the painting Cosmic Trumpet. If you've seen that, I'll try to put a link to it. And so what I do is I mask off an area along the borders, and I shade them a different color, and it sort of draws the eye in toward the activity in the center of the painting. So that's what, when I speed this back up again, you'll see me masking it and then blending the paint into that area. Hello everybody, Bill again. I'm glad you're watching the video. I know this piece of the clip is probably near the end of the video because I'm near the end of this painting. I thought I'd finish it yesterday, but I came down this morning and I thought, it's not quite what I wanted. So I've been scratching my head a little bit trying to figure out what to do about this, and so I decided to have another bite at the apple, as they say. So let me go around and change the aim of that iPhone so you can see what I do, and let's see if we can't get this thing to a point where it's worth signing. Okay, so like I said, this is the area that I'm just not happy with. I don't mind how this, and when I pull this tape up, that'll have a nice border of shading, and I think this works out some too, but I think I just went way too green down here. And I think what I'm going to try to do is go over that with some yellow and see if I can't mute it out a little bit. So let me find a brush and some equipment and get going. And you'll probably hear one of my pugs come bounding down the stairs because he's no doubt figured out that I'm not upstairs right now. And I'll do a tour of this somewhat messy studio. Like I predicted, here he comes in the coming days. I've actually got quite a large studio. This is in the this is a house I'm renting in Western Virginia, and I rattle around inside it, but I needed it large because at the time I moved in here I had 4 dogs. I only have 2 now, and they're small dogs, so I don't need anywhere near this level of space, but it does give me the entire downstairs for my artwork, and a full 2-car garage for my woodwork and my framing, and then still room upstairs for putting junk in. So, at some stage, probably next year, I'm going to downsize, and I'll have to get more efficient in how I use space. So let's give this a try. Okay, this is now dried, and I think I'm happier with the color that we got now that I've went over that with some yellow. So let's see what happens when the tape comes off. Yeah, I think I'm gonna like this. So sure about the curvature there. Definitely not liking this rounded part. I'm in 2 minds about what to do about it. What I'm not in 2 minds about is try to get some kind of highlights out in this area. tapes. I think it'll be good. I think this guy may be good to go. And the next color in the series, I think, is going to be a blue-oriented one. That's what I've been thinking about. I've been trying to think about what to do with the foundation coat on that. Yep. Okay. And it's Bill here, and I'm going to pull the tape up on this and see what I've got. So. I think I might do it that way. Maybe it's because I'm right-handed. I don't know. But I kind of like the way it's rising from left to right. I'm going to narrow it down here as a sign. I'll go with that. Daffodilus. And this is the completed painting. It's level 3 canvas. I think I said in the beginning of all of these clips. It measures 20 by 20 inches in its original size, and I believe it's 1.5 inches deep, or that in that area there. Now these other 3 close-ups proceed from the bottom left to the top right, which is kind of the way I envisioned the flow of this painting. I've had a lot of interesting comments about what it is. Surge and thrust and words like that. I guess it evokes that kind of emotion. The bottom left is obviously reminiscent of the greenery of the daffodil flower, and in the center, sort of moving upward, the wispy nature of it. What I had on my mind a lot when I was doing this thing was a clump of daffodils in the spring breeze, sort of swaying over. So that's, I guess, if you want to see inside my mind's eye. And then the final complete painting here. Also, what I'm showing is a couple of scenes mocked up in Canvy. The first one in the den-like scene is the full-size painting in a frame, reasonable size frame, 2.5 inch wood frame with a 2 or 3 inch matte border. The next one over the fireplace is a 1.5 times enlargement of the original. It could be done in a lot of different materials, whether it's on Giclée archival paper, or on metal, or with an acrylic sealant to it. And I would say that for a 20 by 20 original, you could probably almost get up to 60 by 60. Why you'd want a painting that big, I don't know. But without losing the resolution of it, would probably be a pretty safe bet. Welcome back. I see you've made it down toward the end of the video, and I hope you enjoyed what you saw. It was a fun project to work on. I spent probably more time than I thought I would on the thing, because it was so many learning experiences in it, and that's part of the joy I get out of creating art and painting. In that, in the one place where I made the mistake and I decided, well, that's an element that I'm going to add to this painting because I can't really escape it. It's fun. Thanks again for watching. I look forward to making the next one. It will be another in the Rainbow Pride series, and it will be based on a blue flower image. I'm thinking Morning Glory at this point. We'll see how it starts to turn out and what sort of trials and tribulations I'll run into with the blue painting. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate your attention. Bye.